In the quiet village of Omuago, there lived a woman named Ego. Life had not been kind to her. She had loved once, deeply, only for death to snatch her husband away, leaving her alone with their only son, Afamefula. Afamefula was not just her son, he was her everything, her joy, her pride, the reason she woke up every morning and pushed through the hardships of life. She worked tirelessly, taking up manual jobs, pounding cassava till her hands blistered, just so he could have a good education. And he never disappointed her. Afamefula was intelligent, kind, and strikingly handsome. But perhaps he was too trusting. Afamefula had a best friend, Jide. They had met in the university, shared meals, dreams, and laughter. To Afamefula, Jide was like a brother. But to Jide, Afamefula was a shadow that always outshined him. Jide had everything a man could want, yet his heart knew no contentment. If you bought a new pair of shoes, he wanted them. If you got a job, he would find a way to get a better one. And when Afamefula and Jide both got jobs at a prestigious architecture company owned by a powerful CEO, Jide set his eyes on something bigger: Chioma, the CEO's daughter. Chioma was beautiful, intelligent, and kind. To Jide, marrying her meant power, wealth, and control. But there was just one problem. Chioma barely noticed him. So Jide, ever the schemer, went to Afamefula. "My brother, you know Chioma listens to you. Help me talk to her, please. You know how much I like this girl." He pleaded, his voice dripping with desperation. Afamefula hesitated. "Jide, I have told you, if you like her, go and talk to her yourself." Jide's face darkened. "So you won't help me?" Afamefula sighed deeply. "Fine, I'll try." But fate had other plans. When Afamefula approached Chioma, expecting to deliver Jide's message, he was met with a confession he never saw coming. "I have always liked you, Afam," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I thought you knew. I have given you so many signs, but you seem not to get them." Afamefula was stunned. "Chioma, I came to talk to you about my friend Jide." "I don't care about Jide," she interrupted, her eyes filled with emotions too strong to hide. "It's you that I want." Afamefula left that conversation shaking. He had never seen this coming. When he told Jide that Chioma was not interested in him, Jide did not take it well. "You betrayed me," Jide roared, his face contorted with rage. "You went behind my back and seduced her, and you know I have been telling you that I love her." "Jide, I swear I did not." "You can swear for all you care." He snapped and walked away. Afamefula did all he could to explain things to Jide, who later feigned laughter. "Since it's you she wants to be with, I am not angry anymore. It's alright, you can go ahead and be with her." Afamefula, thinking everything was fine, went ahead to ask Chioma out officially. That was how the relationship between Chioma and Afamefula sparked up. They went out in dates together, did everything together. They were in love. One day, Chioma visited their home and Jide couldn't hold it anymore. He was angry. Then he heard the sound coming out from Afamefula's room. He went mad as he muttered that he would deal with Afamefula mercilessly for taking the woman that belonged to him. Jide plotted his revenge. The wind howled as if mourning an unseen tragedy. The next morning, Jide did something he had never done before. He made breakfast. As Afamefula was preparing to leave for work, Jide called out, his voice unusually calm. "My brother, you have been so stressed lately. Sit and eat before you go to work." Afamefula hesitated. His instinct screamed something is wrong. But Jide smiled, his eyes warm and with forced sincerity. So Afamefula ate. The poison worked fast. His throat burned, his vision blurred. He clutched his chest, gasping for air. Jide, please give me water, water," he choked out. But Jide just stood there, watching him suffer. He just stood there. Afamefula collapsed to the ground, his body convulsing. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth as the light in his eyes dimmed. Then there was silence. Jide took one last look at his friend's lifeless body and ran away. By evening, when neighbors noticed the door ajar and found Afamefula's cold body on the floor, he was rushed to the hospital but was declared dead on arrival. That day, his body was brought back to his widowed mother. As the ambulance wheeled into the compound, all the villagers ran out to console Ego. Her heart was beyond shattered. She wept as she stared at the body of her only comfort inside the coffin. Ego wailed. It was a sound that shattered hearts, a sound that spoke of a mother's pain, a pain too deep for words. She threw herself on his lifeless body, shaking him, begging him to wake up. But he was gone. The villagers gathered, whispering mourning. The once cheerful mother was now a woman broken beyond repair. The day of Afamefula's burial was the day Ego's soul darkened. As the coffin was open and was about to be lowered into the ground, she ran into her hut and emerged moments later, clutching a machete and an axe and a saw. She dropped them into the coffin. "Take this, my son," she wept. "Do not rest. You will not rest in peace. Do not sleep. Go after those who killed you. Make them pay." The villagers gasped. "Ego, you cannot do this," an elder pleaded. But Ego was deaf to reason. Every morning, she sat outside, gathering sand in her palms, cursing whoever took her son. "May your hands wither. May your breath turn to fire. May you never know peace. May the earth reject you. May death itself reject you. May you feel the pain that you have caused a poor widow to experience." After the death of Afamefula, Jide did not stop running. His legs carried him through the street past startled onlookers. He had only one destination in mind: the native doctor who had given him the poison he used in killing Afamefula. He burst into the dimly lit shrine, panting like a haunted animal. The air inside was thick with the scent of burning incense and dried herbs. The native doctor, an old man with skin like cracked leather, sat cross-legged before a clay pot that bubbled with dark liquid. "I need protection," Jide gasped, his voice shaking. "I did what you told me. I used the poison." But his spirit will come for me. I know it. The native doctor chuckled, his voice deep and knowing. You are afraid? He spat on the ground. The dead cannot harm the living if they are properly caged. You came to the right place, you know. He reached into his collections of charms and pulled out a small leather pouch and pressed it into the dead shaking palms. Keep this close. No spirit shall touch you, the old man assured him. The dead boy will not haunt you. Jide exhaled in relief. Thank you, thank you. But the native doctor's words were nothing more than empty promises. The news of Afamefula's death shattered Chioma. She sat in her office, staring blankly at the report in front of her, unable to focus. The air-conditioned room felt suffocating. Her hands trembled as she reached for her pen, only to drop it as tears blurred her vision. She couldn't even attend Afamefula's burial because she wouldn't want to believe that he was truly gone. Her father, Chief Ojukwu, walked in and saw her in that state again. It has been weeks since Afamefula was buried. But Chioma was still drowning in sorrow. Chioma, my daughter, his deep voice softened. You cannot continue like this. She wiped her tears, but more followed. Papa, I loved him so much, she whispered. I never told him how much. I never even got to say goodbye. Chief Ojukwu sighed. He has seen his daughter face many challenges. But this was different. She was breaking down. You need to leave this place, he finally said. Everywhere you turn, you see memories of him. I will not watch you wither away in grief. You are going abroad. Chioma looked up, startled. Abroad? Yes, he nodded. I have made the arrangement. You need a fresh start. Staying here will only reopen wounds. She wanted to protest, but she knew her father was right. She was no longer herself. A few days later, she boarded a flight, her heart heavy. As the plane lifted into the sky, she pressed her forehead against the window and whispered, Afamefula, if you can hear me, please find peace. But peace was far from coming. Far away in Umuagu, Ego sat outside her hut, her body slumped against the cold earth. She had not eaten, had not slept. Her mind was consumed by grief. Her heart, a hollow pit of anguish. She thought of Afamefula's smile, the warmth of his voice, the way he would say, Mama, one day you will live in a house so big that you will never need to sell firewood again. But where was that house now? Where was her son? Gone, murdered. Her hands trembled as she picked up a handful of sand. She held it close to her lips, and her voice rose in a chilling wail. Oh heavens! Let the ground reject my son's killers. Let them never know peace. Let their footsteps be cursed, their sleep be stolen, their food turned to poison in their bellies. May their eyes see horror in daylight, and their souls be tormented at night. The villagers shuddered. Some begged her to stop. Others, knowing the weight of a mother's pain, wept with her. But as Ego spoke, as her words carried through the wind like a decree from the gods themselves, something stirred in the world beyond. An Afamefula spirit woke up. Jide had barely rested that night. He had clutched the charm tightly, muttering prayers to whatever gods might listen. But when he closed his eyes, he saw him. Afamefula stood at the foot of his bed, silent. His white burial clothes were stained with dirt, his face pale, his eyes hollow, like two endless pits of darkness. And in his hands, a machete, an axe, and a sword. "Did you think you could kill me and go free?" Afamefula's voice was a whisper, yet it filled the room. Jide bolted upright, his heart hammering. "It's not real, it's not real," he screamed, but the spirit stepped closer. Jide's breath caught in his throat. He reached for the charm, pressing it against his chest. "The native doctor said you can't touch me." Afamefula's lips coiled into a cold smile. "Then go to him," he said. And just with that, he vanished. Jide wasted no time. The following morning, he threw on his clothes and ran. When he reached the shrine, he did not call out, he did not knock, he simply ran inside, like someone who is being pursued by death. And then he stopped. His breath left his body, his legs trembled. The native doctor was dead. His lifeless body lay sprawled across the floor, his mouth wide open, his tongue sticking out unnaturally. His eyes were frozen in terror, and in his chest, carved deep, was something that made Jide's blood turn to ice. A machete mark. Jide fell backward, a scream tearing from his throat. He turned and fled. Ran like a madman, past the villagers who stared in confusion, past the street that seemed to whisper his names. But no matter how far he ran, Afamefula followed him, and Jide knew there was no escape. The sun beat down on the quiet village of Umago, casting long shadows over the dusty ground where Ego sat. She was frail now, her once vibrant spirit drained by grief, and her once strong arms now rested weakly on her lap. She had neither eaten nor drank water for days. The only thing she fed on was her pain. Morning after morning, she would gather sand in her palms and let the curses flow. "Let the murderer of my son know no rest. Let his days be filled with horror. Let his body rot while he still breathes." The villagers were terrified. Some begged her to stop, fearing that her words carried power. Others avoided her completely, whispering that she was losing her mind out of grief. One morning, the village priest came to see her. He had heard of her suffering and could no longer stay away. "Ego, my daughter," he called gently, but she did not respond. She only sat there, rocking back and forth, staring at nothing. The priest sighed. "You have not eaten. You have not slept. Is this how you wish to live?" She turned to him sharply, her eyes red and swollen. "How else should I live, father?" she hissed. "Tell me, where was your God when my son was poisoned? Where was he when I held his lifeless body in my arms? Where was he when my only joy was stolen from me?" The priest's heart ached for her. "Ego, God is God in all situations," he said gently. "Even in pain, even in loss, he is still God. We must give thanks. Even in suffering, we must give thanks." Ego let out a dry, bitter laugh. "Thanks? You want me to give thanks? My son is dead. I have nothing left. Where was God when my husband died? And now his only son is also dead. And you speak to me about things? Her voice broke and she wept again. The priest stayed with her, but she refused to listen. She was drowning in sorrow and no words could pull her out. Meanwhile, Jide wandered the streets like a madman. His clothes were torn, his hair unkempt, and his face was a shadow of the proud man he was once. People watched in horror as he muttered to himself, I killed Afamefula. Yes, I killed him. It was me. I poisoned him. But he has come for me. Oh. You people should help me. He has come for me. Some avoided him, others watched with pity, but none dared to go near him. One fateful evening, as he staggered across the road, a speeding car came out of nowhere and struck him down. People screamed, rushing towards his lifeless body. It's over, someone whispered. But then, Chide's eyes snapped open. Gasps filled the air. Slowly he sat up. His bones cracked and his skin looked unnaturally pale. The driver trembled, pointing at him. He was dead. I swear he was dead. Jide did not say a word. He simply stood up and ran. Days turned into weeks, and a strange thing began to happen. Jide's body began to rot. His flesh peeled off in patches, exposing raw decaying wounds. Maggots crawled from his skin. Birds perched on his shoulders, pecking at his rotten flesh. Yet, he did not die. He screamed in agony, but death rejected him. He begged for mercy, but no one could help him. His wail haunted the city at night until one evening, his body finally gave up. When they found him, only his bones remained. The villagers whispered in fear. Afamefula had taken his revenge. A year later, after the death of Afamefula, the dry season had come again, but this time there was no laughter in Ego's home. She still sat under her tree every day, staring into distance. Life had lost its meaning. Then one afternoon, a black SUV rolled into the village, raising dust as it came to a slow stop. The villagers watched curiously as a beautiful young woman stepped out. Shoma, she had never been to Umuagu before, but she had finally come. Please, she asked one of the villagers, her voice trembling. Please, can you take me to Afamefula's house? Ego's friend, Mama Nkem, accepted to take her. Come, my daughter, I will take you. Together, they drove down the narrow village road until they reached Ego's hut. Ego was sitting outside, lost in thought. She did not notice the car. She did not notice the woman stepping out. But then, she saw the baby. Her heart stopped. Trauma stood before her, tears streaming down her face. The baby coiled softly in her arms. He was 1 year old, his tiny hands reaching out to Ego. Ego's mouth opened, but no words came out. Her body trembled as she stood up, her frail hands shaking. She rushed to Chioma, gasping for breath. Chioma placed the baby in her arms, her voice breaking. I am sorry I didn't come all this while, but now, this is Afamefula's son, she whispered. Ego let out a loud, piercing wail. Afamefula! Welcome home! Afamefula Nwam! No, Nwam! No! Welcome! Welcome, my son! She cried, lifting the child up. My son has returned home. Your name will never be forgotten. Tears rolled down her eyes. as she cradled the baby, rocking him gently. The villagers who had gathered watched in awe. Some clapped, some wept, others fell to their knees praising God. Ego grabbed a handful of sand and raised it to the sky. Afame Fulanwam, my son, you can now rest in peace. Choma sat beside her voice shaking as she explained. I found out I was pregnant after I left abroad, Mama, she said. At first I was scared, but then Afame Fula started appearing in my dreams. He told me to bring his son home. He told me you were waiting for him to return. Ego sobbed, hugging Choma. My daughter, you have brought life back into my soul, she wept. May the gods bless you. May you never know sorrow. May this child grow to be as great as his father. The news spread like wildfire. The villagers gathered singing, dancing, and celebrating. Afamefula had returned, not in flesh, but in blood. And finally, Ego smiled again. Choma decided to stay with them for a while. She loved and took care of her like she was her own mother. She made sure she did to Ego everything that her son Afamefula would have done for her if he was alive. Thank you so much for watching. What did you learn and how did you feel about the story? What did you learn from the story? Do well to comment on the comment section so that we can interact. Don't forget to like. Thank you and God bless you.